All right, we are live, the top of 9 a.m. today. Wow, I'm Sandra Horton. I'm thrilled. I'm just absolutely over the moon today. It's Thursday. It's my favorite day of the week, in that I get to welcome all of you around the globe to our wonderful Connect today. You are live here in the Women Leaders Support and Networking Group. Wow. I feel today the energy is going to be so strong because we are excited to have our amazing co-host today, Miss Regina Marie. Welcome, my friend.
Glad to
Welcome
be here. Thank you, Sandra.
all the way down in the United States. So this is great. I love this global connection. But importantly, our topic today is relevant to all of you out there. Thank you so much for joining. Hello to our live audience. Please make sure you comment on there. How exciting. Today, we're going to be talking about the 7 keys to becoming an authentic leader, how to show up and inspire others, even in the midst of this crazy, complex time that we find ourselves. So what we're going to do today is we're going to dive in and give you those 7 areas. And if you do these things, guess what? You're going to walk away with some new insights and some new skills and some actions that you can actually take into your own leadership. Wherever you work, if you're running a team, you can do this. So I'd like to just give you a little bit about me and who am I and why did I bring this beautiful community to life. So my name is Sandra J. Horton, and I am known as the Growth Catalyst. I'm also known as the Self-Esteem Activator now too, which is really exciting for me because I come from that heart-centered space. But, I grew up, and my story is really one of being a sexual assault survivor. And I can now tell my 10-year-old self that I am a thriver. I experienced repeated patterns of victimization, codependency, and suppression. In my life and in business, I truly was walking around numb, even though I was leading myself and teams and my business. But I was not allowing my inner self, my inner guidance, my system to lead the way. So now my mission is to ignite and unlock women to be heart-centered, authentic leaders. Because I have ignited and unlocked now over 5,000 women's authentic leadership hearts across the globe. I'm here to bring my 25 years of experience in multiple industries, being able to master this heart-centered way of being, to connect, to build teams. And I am also just so grateful to be here with Miss Regina Marie, because each and every one of us can transform. We can take our past, be present, and become that authentic leader that we know we are. And that's why we're here. Today we're gonna shift and we're gonna talk about those 7 keys, because you can do it too. And thank you so much for joining us. Hello to our beautiful audience. Thank you. You want to stick around because this is going to be fire. So here we go. Miss Regina Marie, tell us a little bit about you and what are you up to and why are you inspired and how do you show up as an authentic leader?
Oh, well, that's a mouthful. Well, I'm just so happy to be here. It's just an amazing group of women. As you know, my name's Regina Marie, and I am known as the Queen of Self-Sovereignty. Basically, what I do is I actually open up and unite minds to their inner works and include God into it. And so basically, I really try very hard to allow myself to be authentic as a leader, because I am a serial entrepreneur for over 30 years. So I have been in business. I love business. But it's challenging. It's challenging to be the kind of leader you need to be for each hat that you wear as a mom, as a wife, but then also as a boss. Mm-hmm. So now I'm getting out of the entrepreneurship, and I shouldn't say out because I'm actually still an entrepreneur.
You always be it. It's in your own.
Right. You always are, right? No matter what you do. Isn't that weird? But basically, I'm a transformational life coach now, and I've been mentoring for about 15 years. Mm-hmm. So now I am taking this actually to the next level because the need is there. People want to change. People want to be awakened. And so I've been sought out to do this, and now it's flourishing. So thank you for having me.
Yes, you are flourishing. Welcome again. Those live, we're going to dig in now. So you're ready? Hang on. This is going to be fire. So one of the very first steps to becoming an authentic leader is understanding that leadership is influence. Today, more than ever, influence, how we define influence, how we see influence, is really relevant to us because we are impacted by what we see and what we take in. It's our external environment. And sometimes as leaders, we may not take the time to have a moment to stop and actually view, how do I look at leadership? How do I see, let's say, a social media influencer? Why do I think that that person is influential? Each of us can have different ways of looking at leadership itself, the skills and the traits. And it's interesting, Regina, because, you know, when you think of someone who is an authentic leader, who comes to your mind?
A lot of people, actually. I have some really amazing people that I've worked with over the years. But as an authentic leader, I mean, I can even think of my priest. I mean, it's just amazing how you can see people who are generally led by their heart, and they're not just in the motion of robotic getting the agenda done. It's all about being led, and accountability is really, you know. So I mean, so many people, Sandra, but of course, mirroring it right back to you, my friend, working with you has really changed the way I see myself. And I just love your program. So I want to hear more about your program too today. I really would like that.
Thank you, Regina. So what Regina is speaking to is what I've created is the Growth Catalyst program for bold women leaders. And a lot of what we talk about is based upon those 7 fundamentals. And the first is looking at leadership is influence. So let me just pivot back over here just quickly around what people and my viewing lovely audience here, whether you're live or you're going to listen to it later. What I'm going to ask you to think about is take some time today, and I want you to journal. I want you to think about, how do you look at what is influence in leadership? I want you to look at the people you interact or who you see on TV, and what skills and traits do they exude? What are you picking up on? Is it their ability to actively listen? Is it their ability to lead, to be inspiring? What is it? Skills are things they do. So if you're a problem solver, a critical thinker, you're a collaborator, those are skills. Traits are more of those values, those inspiring ways. They motivate us, they get us going. Journal those down today. See what you find. Because what's interesting about leadership as influence is you start to look inside at yourself, and you begin to understand each and every one of us has a different way of looking at leadership. So do that today and see what comes up for you. And then look at yourself and say, what are my key traits? What are the skills that I bring day in and day out to be that authentic me? So that's what I think is the first step. It's how do we view ourselves? How do we view others? And especially with the social media, the influencers. What are they doing? How are they promoting? How are they showing up authentically? And then go and share that with someone that you love and see what comes out. So I hope you take that challenge on. That's number 1. Anything you want to add to that number 1, Miss Regina?
No, that was amazing. That was really thorough.
All right. Want to drop some value today, because that's the important thing. It's not what we say, it's what can we offer you, our viewing audience, to do today to take those steps to become an authentic leader. Number 2, well, really is to understand what is authentic leadership. And authentic leadership is defined in a number of ways. And really, I feel it is now leading the leading leadership theory out there, because authentic leaders are those leaders that know their moral compass. They know their values. They know what drives them and where. And Regina, I would love to get your feedback on this, because every time in our life, we're going to be challenged, aren't we? We're going to see ourselves in a leadership role, and we're going to encounter situations that ask us to make decisions. We have to choose a certain way of being and thinking and acting and feeling. And how do we do that? Well,
Yes. No,
what do you do? I would love to hear what you do, my friend.
Basically, I really hone in. I hone in on myself. I really find out what's going on with what I'm feeling that day. Because I mean, I'm a woman. Those feelings change day to day. And so, and I own it proudly. I am not a masker at all. So if I'm having a bad day, I will tell my staff, hey, listen, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, just have my coffee ready, have things in line. I do that to my assistants. I do that to everyone, just kind of preparing them like, listen, I'm not on the best note, but I'm getting there. And usually before I even walk in the door, I'm shifted. So it's just learning how to pivot and shift very clearly by meditating, clearing, whatever you do that works for you to get you to be on that track and guide to what is exactly needed to show up for the work, and allowing our emotions to be the strength and not our weakness. I find that that is really key about being authentic. So I'm honest. When
Love honesty, but that's hard sometimes, Miss Regina. I don't know how our audience is feeling about that too. Do you find times that you have to be honest and you're thinking to yourself, that's your moral rudder? That is a value. What are your values? I'm going to talk about that in just a few seconds. That's the third key, is looking at our values. So I would say that honesty, know yourself, know those key drivers of you, and have courage. One of the greatest things I think we can do to define our authentic leadership. And in the program, we actually dive into this because there's some key things that you need to look at, is being courageous to go inside, but also being courageous to stop and engage with others so that they can give you feedback. They can engage with you. It's not a one-way street. It's a dialogue, which means, hey, we're going to talk. We're going to understand each other so that I'm taking in information before I make decisions. And sometimes that's hard. Miss Regina, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's key. I mean, to not walk in and react to something.
Yes.
And really hone in and respond accordingly.
Yes.
It is a talent in itself.
It is. And you know what? It leads us to our third point, which again, I just want to keep that flow rolling today because these are all real hot topics. So one was understanding leadership is influence. Two is looking at how do you define your authentic leadership? What is your moral code? What is that place in time that I have to stand here? And if I'm going to stand here and I'm going to make a decision, I'm going to take information from other people. I'm going to ground in my values. And that's number three. What are values? Wow. We talk about values, but do you know what your values are? I can only speak my truth. I did not know. When I shared my story a little bit when I started about being a woman who was numb, who was outside focused, not inside focused, who really didn't know. And it's pretty scary. I mean, there's a lot of women out there who are high performing, who are the top of their game, who are leading large organizations that are seen as having it all. They may not know what values they actually have. They may just be on autopilot. And when I unearthed and I became self-aware, guess what? The first steps I took was to go inside and start to look at what are my values? What is that guiding moral compass? Because our beliefs come from how we're raised. They come from when we were born and how we interacted with our world. We learned ways of thinking and acting and believing. And we talk about the conscious and the unconscious mind. Those values and beliefs are deeply ingrained in our unconscious. And unless we take that moment, and this is the second big thing I'm going to ask all of you to do today. Write down, what are your values? What do you know to be your values? And Regina, I'm going to ask you what just a few of your values are. For me, number one is being courageous. So getting up, being courageous, standing up, being out there, doing what I fear. Because it's all in my mind. It's a mindset. Being open, being kind, having gratitude, independence, Those are just a number of mine. What are yours, Regina? Can you share with us and others that how are you using values to be that authentic leader? Just a couple. That'd be awesome.
Well, my biggest one is passion. I have a passion for business. I have a passion for execution. I want to make sure that what my clients need is being performed at the highest level. I want to make sure that also my resilience. I lost my 2-year-old son years ago. And through that death has awakened me to see myself in a raw, real way. When you're hit in the heart like that, and it is excruciating to live, to breathe, you start realizing that how strong you are is really not enough. You have to rely on support and love. And really, for me, it was God. And my faith is probably my biggest core value, because I don't push my faith on anyone, but I am that light. And that's what people seek out now, is that light. So it's kind of amazing how it's exactly what people need, but they don't know it. But the thing is that my other one would be resilience, and let go of the resistance, and actually be able to stand up and be that inner strength that you need. So that's a few of mine.
Wow. You know, Regina, whether you're listening live or you're going to, excuse me, I'm going to have a little sip of coffee here. Excuse me. We're live. We're real. I get choked up because that story you just shared is so powerful. And it evokes a lot of emotions, and it comes out on that. And I'm just going to mute for a second because I can't mute, sorry. It comes out raw and real for me. Sorry.
You're fine, girlie.
It just, again, if you're live, you know, when people share their story and they can be real and raw, that's what changes lives. So know your story. Know what drives you. Because by doing that, you can go and tap inside into your heart. And that's what my own personal journey has been. And that's why I've created this community, is to be that, is to be raw and be real. I'm just going to have a sip of water. It was very emotional for me today, Regina.
It's okay. My story is I've been through a lot, and that has made me a better leader, because I think the more that we are on the front lines, we're taking it for the team. That's what leadership is all about. We might not be exactly physically in that front lines, but we're gearing it. We're the one that's orchestrating everything. And when you have a trauma or something that happens in your life, I find that honing in on what you believe, what your belief is towards yourself, your God, everything is allowing yourself to grow and to allow yourself to be, like, for me, it was like I was cracked open. I can't explain it, but it changed my whole life. I have very high levels of spirituality now, over 20 years of learning. And what's so beautiful is that I was able to grow in a way that I never thought, God or this world would offer. But if you allow yourself to just hone in and face the pain and allow yourself to embrace it with love and know that it's for your betterment. So sometimes the resistance that we don't look at is really the hindrance, because we're running away from it. I always give the analogy of, are you a cow or are you a buffalo? Do you run from the storm like a cow and it chases you for your lifetime? Or are you a buffalo that actually faces head on and goes towards the storm? And I believe a great leader needs to be that, somebody who faces the storm. So.
Wow. Thank you, Regina. And thank you all for being here. And this is raw. This is real. That's what I love about life, because what Regina just said is so powerful. Are you that woman? Are you that woman who embraces you, who takes the time to unpack who you are so that you can be you. We shared here that knowing how you look at influence, how you're showing up, how you define that moral rudder, how you look at and define your values to drive your behavior so you can align. The greatest gift we can give ourselves is to align with what our true values are, because then we can be powerful. And what Regina shared is that through adversity, through heartbreak, we all have a journey or multiple journeys. You know, I could add more to mine. Like it's standing tall. You know, I learned how to overcome, and I have 5 steps that I teach on how to overcome when your identity is threatened. Because I had my life threatened. It was a defamation where your internal, who you are as a person, is attacked. But I overcame it because of what you said. It's facing, being courageous, knowing your values, being able to do things to be strong. And that's what an authentic leader genuinely does. Each and every one of you out there, whether you're, again, watching it live now or when you're going to watch it later, what is your story? Where do you get your strength? So thank you, Regina. Like I said, today, I just feel your story more. And one of the things that I'm finding myself is I step even stronger into my own authentic leadership. In my heart, I feel more. I don't know about you, but the more you feel when you ground, you come out of your head into your heart, there's so much more there. You can relate and be even more authentic to people.
It's hidden treasures.
It's a hidden treasures, my friend. Okay, well, I'm going to shift it a little bit. Have some more water today. Wow, this is good, because when you feel it in your body, we are energy. Everything is energy. This is important, and that's why I feel it in my throat today. Is to communicate and to get it out. So number 4, 1 was leadership is influence. 2 is understanding your authentic leadership values, identity. Knowing when in different situations. Do you get that feedback there, Regina? I have a little bit of feedback.
A little bit.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping that we don't have that.
It's better. It's better.
Is that better now? Okay, cool. All right. So identity is knowing when and how we show up as a leader, learning how to look at our style, our personality, and how we can be our best version depending on that situation, but still having that moral rudder, that moral compass that we know this is me and this is how I want to show up. So Regina, what are your thoughts on that? We're looking at understanding your identity as it pertains to being an authentic leader.
The identity, I believe, is when we actually walk into the room. I'm comfortable with being a leader the way I see leadership is. But sometimes we have to be adaptable. We have to be able to walk into a room, adapt to the situation, and that might push us to be a different kind of leader that is needed. So I'm kind of a drill sergeant. Let me just explain.
I love it.
Okay? So I'm kind of like, get everything in order, but sometimes my front lines are not as strong. And I need to have a more sensitive approach. I need to have more of a rapport and make sure that I communicate clearly. So I have to adapt my way of doing things to build that rapport and make the line stronger and make my team feel more secure that I'm there, not just in body, but in mind and heart. And that way they trust me and trust my decisions, and they do not give me the resistance because they're doubting my confidence in any way.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. So what I heard there is that you have to be able to have and build, and this is a beautiful point here, emotional intelligence. And that is our next point is the I. As an emotional intelligence practitioner, this is something that to me is profound. So I want our listeners to do something today that's going to be, I'm going to ask you to be courageous. I'm going to ask you to do something around your own emotions. Okay, you ready for this? All right. So one of the greatest things we can do about emotional intelligence is starting to unpack where do we first feel our emotions. Regina just shared with us that when we walk into a situation, one of those big factors is our ability to feel and sense where are we, what environment, how do we want to show up, what is our word, what the impact is that we're going to have on others. That is all emotional intelligence. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I want you to pick somebody in your world, not your husband, somebody different. It could be someone, maybe you want to reach out to someone today. And I'm going to ask you to go and ask them a few questions about yourself. Because I want us to walk away with some actions that will invite us into knowing ourselves differently. So around the emotions, I want you to ask one, maybe two people, not your husband or partner, whoever you're living with. And I want you to ask them this. What is one or two ways that I could grow, enhance, expand how I manage my emotions differently? Okay, so what I'm asking you to do is going to be courageous, and you're going to ask one or two people, not your significant other, to how could I grow and enhance myself in a particular emotional way. So pick an emotion. Maybe there's something, I mean, all of us can get angry or frustrated in something. Maybe it's, the proverbial thing where someone leaves clothes out, think of your kids or maybe your business partner, doesn't do something a certain way that really frustrates you. Pick a situation and pick somebody and go and have that kind of courageous conversation and ask them, what is one or two or three ways I could enhance or improve in this particular situation so I can manage my emotions? Because one of the greatest things we can do, it's such a simple thing, but we don't do it. We don't take the time. And in the program actually that I'm going to be, I am running, but I'm going to be launching another cohort soon, is that we're going to do that work. Because the greatest thing you can unearth is how do I manage my emotions? And that's about emotional intelligence. So if you get triggered, we all get triggered, don't we? Every day, we want to, and what Regina even said earlier, we want to be able to observe ourselves, know where those emotions are coming in, feel them, identify them. That's emotional self-awareness. Be able to say, okay, how do I want to react to this without going into an amygdala hijack, which is that unconscious reaction, like I'm triggered, I'm going. So take those basic steps. Just do it today. That's your second kind of my champion question to you is pick a situation, pick a person, and go get some feedback and see what you can bring into you. And then what I love to do is share in our community about what did you find? What are some new ways that someone has given you that you go, okay, you know what? Maybe I can pivot myself. Instead of reacting right away, which is what we don't want to do, I want to look at where are my beliefs, what are my values, what am I coming up against? And that helps us become more self-aware. And emotional intelligence has those 4 pillars, which is self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and social management as well. So those are some things. Regina, I'm just watching the time. Do you have anything you want to add around, feeling it, being it, understanding your impact? That's the EI way.
There's one thing that I do want to, and I don't know what EI, I don't exactly follow that, but I do follow a lot of the same ideas around the premises around it. Yep. The thing is that triggers are invitations. They're not bad things. To be triggered is to be invited into something that you need to handle. And if you suppress it, if you suppress that trigger, you're losing the action to invite yourself to do something. It's like an invitation. So it's like a little hook that's being pulled up from our gut, brought it to the light, and for you to process it, and so that you can deal with it. So I invite people, when they're triggered, is an invitation to heal something deeper that's going on inside of you.
That is so powerful. I hope everyone you really thinks about that. So the other thing you can do is journal or be cognizant of different situations. Are there patterns in your day-to-day life that there's situations that trigger you? One of the things that I do with some of my clients that I work with is actually look at either your lifeline or situation specific and look for patterns. Are those repeated areas in your life that may be those anchor points, those mental blocks that help and hinder us to be who we are? And if we unpack them, that's so powerful. So thank you, Regina, for reminding us about that. And we are always open to learning and being. Okay, I want to get moving because we got a few more to go, and we're on the half an hour block already. So thank you for staying with us. Those that are live, thank you for those who are going to watch this after. I want to turn just a couple more important points. Communicating effectively. Communicating effectively is really important to be an authentic leader, because you're going to be, again, challenged in how can you actively listen versus passively listen. And I don't know about you, but I was not always an active listener. But when I actually took the time to stop and listen, lean in, and then be able to ask clarifying questions of others, guess what happened? I became a much more authentic leader. Because why? People heard me. So I think communicating effectively, looking at how we listen. Do we listen to learn? Do we listen to understand another's perspective? Or are we just listening and then thinking, I got to just get ready. I'm going, right? I don't know. Have you had those situations? Have you been in those communications with others and people that you just see their eyes spinning?
Yes. I mean, I believe that it's the reason why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. You know, we're supposed to use these a little bit more than speak.
Beautiful.
And I'm guilty of that. The thing is, what's beautiful about it is knowing it, being aware of it, being aware that we are always thinking about the next thing to say instead of maybe taking in the information, especially when it's like if it's a conflict or interest, like there's something that's being discussed that's a little heavier. Usually we get in a defensive situation, a defensive stance, and we want to reverb, and stop that because it's uncomfortable for us. Yeah. So I invite my clients that when they feel that way, that they don't get into the defense mode. They ask more questions. They let that person get it out and just ask more questions. Then hone in your feelings, take a deep breath, and speak from your heart about the situation instead of just coming with a defensive mechanism that's going to block it from hitting you. So that's some of the tips that I do for my clients as well.
Fantastic, Regina. And Regina hit on some key points, everybody, in that, we just talked about this, our emotions, our triggers, if we don't know where they're coming from, we're starting to feel these feelings. We have situations we know are triggering us, but yet we know our values, we know our beliefs, we know how we want to be. We have a choice. It is a choice to be an authentic leader. Learn from yourself. Take that moment, reflect, ask questions, engage. And guess what? You can create that win-win situations, because that's what authentic leadership is about. It's about relationship. It's not about power over. It's about building relationships and being who you are day in and day out. So people, like Regina said earlier, and I've communicated, they know you. You are the real deal. You always come from your heart centered. People feel it, right? That's the key. Absolutely. What are people feeling from you? So that I want to move to the next one, which is our roadmap. And then we're going to wrap up and get going for our amazing day. Because again, our mindset, how do we move forward? So we've listened earlier, and we've listed and we've engaged around leadership as influence, being an authentic leader, really understanding what is our moral code, understanding our values. We gave you some things to consider and to do, to look at your own identity. Who are you? What do you want to be like? What is your style? Are you adaptable? Are you flexible? How can you be that authentic leader? Look at your emotions. Where do you feel them? Name them. Look at opportunities to really invite ways to use your emotions effectively. Don't let emotions run you, because the consequences can be cataclysmic in some situations. So just be aware. Take those moments to breathe, to ground. I want to add also, Regina talked about this. Meditation is a beautiful gift to slow our minds, to be able to have those moments of reflection. I do it daily. It's a habit. It's a ritual. Because by doing that, I can be present with myself. I'm in it now. So check in with yourself. Then communicate effectively. And what that means is, don't have the need, or let me reframe that. Try to be mindful. Why do I need to speak now? What is my purpose of speaking? Is it to gain clarity? Is it to gain the understanding of someone else's perspective? And what is that impact of my words on others? And is it a positive impact? Is it uplifting? Is it offering an opportunity for someone to learn? Because the greatest gift is for us to be able to be open to learning every day. And that's what this last one is. It's a roadmap. How do you hold yourself accountable as an authentic leader? I would only say from my personal experience that, and I've learned from my clients as well, if you can create your roadmap, you will be much more successful in how you want to show up, day in and day out. Because what we do, particularly in this program, which has helped me, I had created it for myself actually, because I can only speak my first truth, which is me. How have I held myself accountable? It's doing what we've just talked about. It's identifying all these different areas and then picking, what is the one value I really want to uphold today? How do I show people what is that definition? What's the significance? And how can they help me hold myself accountable? What are my beliefs? What is one or two significant ways I can be more an effective communicator? And so we put this roadmap together. I set goals in the morning, and we do this. And by doing these specific actions, guess what? At the end of that 6 weeks, you got new habits. You have new structure and places and things to do to support yourself. And so I really do hope that these 7 specific steps will help you, will give you that next step to take your leadership to the next level. Regina, what would you like to add? Is there anything else you want to add that's just kind of percolating in you before we sign out? Because I know we're
I want to say that I really believe in your program. I really changed from it. And I just want to say that I really feel that just what you've shown me, what you shared with me as you grow yourself. I mean, Sandra, you've changed so much. And it's so beautiful to see that in front of my own eyes, because it's making me change. So I just love collaborating with women who are flexible, who are looking to grow, looking to become something unique, not just going with the flow of the pattern. And that is the woman that is invited to this kind of show. So if you're here watching this, know that that's you.
Yes. Yes, you are special. You are unique. Yes. You are powerful. Step into your confidence, because I can truly say, even this last week, because I'm always a woman, open and in transition, I welcomed and I stood in my power now, because I have my woman, my adult woman, and my young girl. We are now strong and we are integrated and unified, and I am powerful. I didn't fully have that, but now I do. And again, this is what I really pray and hope for all of you who are listening. Step into your power, step into your confidence, be that bold and brilliant and brave woman. Be that authentic leader, because guess what? You can do it. I'm living proof. Regina's living proof. Be it. You got it. I am it. So thank you so much for this amazing, beautiful live today from the heart. You know, you're such a beautiful soul, Regina. Thank you for bringing light and love to this. If you want to know more about Regina, I'll put her contact information in the thank yous in the Women Leaders Support and Networking Community group we are running. And for me, please, reach out. I am running my programs at www.sandrahorton.com. And if you would like to learn more, I also have some free giveaways that just ask me. I have how to lead remotely. It's an action-packed tool that you can take away. And also I have the Growth Catalyst scorecard that will allow you to look at your organization and your leadership and get an actual scorecard of how you are doing. How do you evaluate yourself and your organization compared to others? And you can elevate, and we can book a 15-minute. So thank you again. My heartfelt thank you for those who are listening live, and blessings to you all. Have a fantastic day. There you go. Thank you so much. Bye for now.